Are we back on or what?
Yeah, we're rolling, mate. Right, we're back. We're back.
Part 3. Live podcasting.
Some plugs have been emptied and the oil's been refilled.
That's it. Yeah.
That was a really bad analogy, but anyway.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
It was pretty bad.
We'll roll with it.
So, sort of touched on it before. What's your goals for YouTube? So, whether it's immediate or you sort of touch, like you'd love to expand with having a few different people. Is that sort of like a near future thing? Like you're sort of keeping your eyes open for anyone now, or is that I want to give it another year or something before I start?
I don't know. I've always got options open.
Yeah.
Because I suppose the hard thing is like, because I know how much work it's going to take. There's, some people that I talk to, and they're like, "Oh man, I'd love to do that, or I'd love to do a particular, thing, or I want to make a video on that," and they're pretty interested.
Yep.
But again, like I said, it comes down to the work, and just as much as me how much work actually goes into it. So it's not the easiest thing, and it keeps me very busy.
Yeah.
But like I said, I don't think you can turn away from the fact that you can record all these different things happening.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's some videos on the channel that are purely for me.
Yeah.
Or purely for my family.
Yeah.
That I don't really care how many views it gets, but there's also videos that I do just for the sake of being to the viewers, hey, check this out, or whatever. But it's always open, because to me, it not only is it going to take the pressure off me, it's going to take the pressure off them, so they might actually enjoy making the videos a little bit more as well.
So if you had someone do fishing, would you edit their videos, or would you let them edit?
No, I'd let them sort of do. Unless they didn't want to. If they just wanted to film it, I'd be more than happy to edit it. Sure, it would probably take me more time, but if they can send me the footage and I could put one together, then that's great. But ideally, it's because at the end of the day, it's it's a video that they've filmed. So how you want that video to come out, it's a bit harder getting someone else to sort of edit it, because you want to control how your video comes out. You know what I mean? The idea would be that they would essentially edit the whole thing themselves, send it to me, and then I'll just schedule it in for whenever it's going to come out, Yeah.
What do you do you prefer filming or editing?
I think I like the editing side, but I've, ever since I was a kid, it's always been computer orientated, you know what I mean? So I like the technicality and the change this, change that, and
it's cool to see that. I'm the same. I love filming. Like I guess I love the part of filming because I know what's going to come out of it. Like all right, I'm doing this shot here.
That's it.
It's sort of rolling.
You've got an editing brain. Yeah.
But I love editing. Like my editing, I've become fairly quick now, but it takes me longer than it needs to, because I'll just sit there you do a sick bloody edit and just watch it over and over and over.
See, I'm the opposite. I'll basically, like you said, in my head when I'm filming, I'm thinking about it. So when I actually go to edit, I'm like bang, bang, that, and it's done. And I try and get as much footage as I can without making it boring. And then boom, it's out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I don't really sit there and I'm like, oh, but this bit and that bit. And some people do, but not for me.
Yeah.
Like I said, I like to keep it as raw as possible, just roll on the fly. But back in the day, this is like, my brother had a GoPro 7, I think, maybe even older.
The good GoPros.
He used to just go out with his mates, and there'd just be a bunch of rubbish, you know what I mean? Them doing something down at a lake, or drinking and doing this and whatever, whatever it was. And you know, just running amok. And then he'd come back to me and he goes, "Hey, Dill," and I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "Can you make us a sick edit?" I was like, "Yeah, no worries, mate." You know, so this was back in like Windows Movie Maker days, you know, so I'd always just be messing around on that. So I suppose I've sort of been editing for a while, but I mean, even now I still haven't really gone into it. Like there's, you know, you can do colour grading and sound effects and
one thing I'd love to
all this kind of stuff.
Learn is colour grading. Like,
it'd be great, but I think this is going to take me too much time.
Right, the time, like, I reckon it would double, if not triple your editing time. But in the same breath, I've watched people that can really colour grade, and like how good it looks.
I feel like, you know, in the instance of getting other people to do different parts of the channel, like, if I had more time and I was like releasing a video every 3, maybe 4, maybe just once a month, like, if I had a couple of videos saved up, like, I would spend the time to actually do it. So,
do you think you'd ever, say if you get to the, you know, few thousand subscribers and you're rolling a little bit of money through YouTube and merch, do you think you'd ever, I know some people, like, I can't remember the website, I found it on another podcast. There's actually a website where you can, it's for editing YouTube, where it's paying someone to make a thumbnail or edit. Do you think, like, if you got to the stage, you'd be like, all right, you might do like the main edit, cut it all up and do it, and then like pay someone a bit of money to like colour grade and chop stuff up, like, you know, polish it off? Or?
I haven't really thought about that, to be honest. I think I'd probably, I'd keep it as much to myself as possible, I think. Because it's just, I mean, something like colour grading, sure, but editing aspect, probably not. Thumbnail, I mean, currently I just get thumbnails from the footage. Like, it's just a screen grab, you know, it's nothing wow. Throw a little title or a few keywords on it and put it out. I know some people proper stage their thumbnails and cut out themselves and all this kind of stuff, but...
It's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
I've been playing that with that lately, like all this AI. I was like, I just sat down one night, I was like, this would be fun, man. It's crazy what you can actually do, but man, I spent probably, and I'm only learning it, but probably sat there for like 3-4 hours making all these different thumbnails and like what looks best, and you can get carried away proper with it, you know.
I mean, that's another thing, you know, like I said, it's the same with my filming. Like, I just get something that might grab your attention, but I'm not sitting there. I don't have 3 thumbnails and I'm like, oh, is this one or that one or this one? Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like some people, you know, like some YouTubers will make their thumbnail before they even record, and you know, like it's different. There are different ways of doing it, but I suppose each to their own.
I suppose it depends on what you want to get out of it as well. You know, like if you're going to spend time on making a good thumbnail or making a catchy title or all that kind of stuff, like you're probably trying to make it big or trying to progress it a little bit more, you know, like to me, I'm just like, I'll be honest, I can't believe that I'm already at 500 or so. I think I'm at 530 odd subscribers now, like
500 people that have been in your channel and subscribe. It's pretty crazy when you think about the numbers. Like,
it is pretty crazy, and like it's just like I mean, we talked about it before, you know, you get to the point where you're like, oh, this is too hard, you know. Been busting my ass basically trying to get these videos out weekly or doing all this work, and I'm not really seeing anything. And like you said, you make this really good video and it gets 20 views and you're like, oh my God. You know what I mean? You're like, if only people would see just this one video. And, you know, you like I said, at that time, it happens every time, regardless, without fail. There'll be a comment on your video and it'll be like, hey mate, love this content, keep it up. And you're just like, all right, let's go. Head down, we're going to make some more videos.
I'm going out the door, last minute trip coming up.
Kick the door down and we're on. Car's packed. It's rock and roll. But.
So I sort of changed it up a bit. I wanted to ask you about rolling around on a Triton. So obviously a lot of people carry
here we go. All right. Load the comments. Let's go.
Roast this guy. No, but you know, that's, I guess, an underrated car. A lot of people carry on about them and they're cheap and rah, rah, rah.
Yeah.
What's your experience been with them? Like, I know we had a little thing today with the traction control, which is any car. Like, it doesn't matter if it's a
exactly
Triton. There's
right.
so many cars I've seen, Ford Rangers, this, like, with all this traction control and all that.
Yeah,
that's
all the mod
subject.
cons.
Yeah, but as a car and a four-wheel drive, like, have you found many restrictions with it? Like, obviously you're not going this crazy wheeling with big tyres and you know, you're going down the beach, you're doing what an everyday
stuff. Yeah.
Have you found any restrictions, anything, problems with it? Like, you're quite happy with it?
I've pretty much had no problems with it at all. I mean, the reason I got it is my auntie that lives in Broome, she's got a Triton, and one day by chance, before the YouTube started, her car was getting serviced, so we went to go pick it up, and I ended up driving it back, and I said to her, this drives like a sedan.
Yeah.
And I was like, it just feels comfortable.
Yeah.
It feels, I suppose, narrow. You know, people driving like your patrols or your cruisers, you know, they feel very wide and truck-like, I suppose. But for the comfort and, like, you can sit in a Triton, like you could sit in my car right now and you would be like, it feels like I've been driving this car for years. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just that feeling where you just sit in it and you're like, oh yeah, it's comfy, let's go.
Yeah.
And that was sort of what got me onto it in the first place.
Yeah.
And I've since driven, I drove Seldy's Hilux in Lancelin, like I mentioned, on our first trip. Obviously before the whole YouTube thing started, you know, we did a bit of driving there. It felt similar. I wouldn't say that it felt better. I was probably on par, maybe. But, I mean, for the everyday person, it's probably fine. You know, for the person that's maybe doing trips like we're talking about, the Gibb River or something like that, I suppose the only limitation that's probably coming into fruition, I suppose, is like parts.
Yeah.
If something goes wrong, can you get the parts? I know particular cars, people do struggle to get parts, and I know, you know, your Toyotas or your D-Maxes, things like that are everywhere. You know what I mean? Your Cruisers, again, you can basically get a stick out the bush and just and it'll work, you know?
Or
like,
there's a cut of a
yeah, and I mean,
on the side of the road and grab parts off.
I haven't reached that limitation yet. But also being the fact that Seldy just went, hey, get a full drive. You know what I mean? Like, for me, like you said, price point is a huge thing for someone just getting into full driving. And then now that I've used it as much as I have, you know, that's sort of opening the door for what I'm going to get next down the line. But, you know, that's probably going to happen, I think, maybe within a year, 2 years.
Yeah,
something like
do you
that.
have any cars in mind, or are you still...
I'm thinking, actually, my mate from work, Dirty Mike, I'll give him a shout out. We call him Dirty Mike. He's almost, well, actually him and my mate Dougie, who was also at work, they've both been trying to sell me on a wagon.
Yeah, right.
They're like, get a wagon. Once you get in a wagon, you'll never turn back. You'll never get a dual cab, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I think they've almost sold me.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking either a D-Max or I'm going to probably go on MUX.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think more of an MUX at the moment, just for the sake of it being a wagon. Take the back seats out probably and just roll with the two front ones. So you're sort of going to have the same amount of space, but to get a bit more comfort with the ride there. But I suppose we'll see what happens. A lot can change.
About that. I'm the opposite. I hate wagon. Like, Mrs. got a 105, and I guess because I've, man, 70's got a full, you know, tray and canopy, and it's so nice. Like, just everything's there, easy to get to. Wagons, I think that's give me the shits. Like, when you're camping, and everyone knows, like, you leave home all packed nice. Halfway through, you're grabbing your jumper out or your whatever this is, and it's just on top of each other, hooking around the seat. I don't know. Me personally, I'm not saying everyone, but me personally, I fucking hate them.
Yeah.
I hate wagon, but that's just me. And then, but then obviously, you know, like I've got the sloth there. That's just a tray, no canopy or anything. Then you got everything's out in the open. So you got that. And I've got a single cab. I've got camera gear. I've got shopping that I don't want to get rid of. It's hectic. So either either, but you know, like it's yeah. But you do see some setups like, you know, Mrs. Car's just. There's nothing. There's no drawers, no nothing.
Yeah,
just,
see.
So you get a nice drawer set up.
It.
Oh, I've seen some wicked setups, like even in the back of 76s and stuff, and like, you know, once you get your drawers and water taps and this and that, and it's it looks pretty organised. You're not okay. I need my okay. I go in this drawer instead of like digging underneath.
Yeah, it's all about how you set it up, really. You know? And like, I mean, that was my original goal was, dual cab, custom canopy, everything accessible, like you said, because that's what I find probably my biggest limitation with the Triton, although it's done for specific reasons. The way it is set out, it's hard to reach certain things when I need them. But it's set out that way that I can rip everything out of it and use it as just a ute. Obviously, that's how it is at the moment, but also it's going to be, because like 90% of the time it's fully loaded, ready to go, you know, so...
Well, we're lucky because we wouldn't have had anything to cook on.
Well, that's it, exactly
Someone forgot to bring a pan, I wonder who.
Cue the video. Drop that down below.
Don't worry, mate, I'll do all the cooking. And,
he's got it all sorted, anyway. You reckons, but...
We won't dwell on that.
No, we won't. We'll move on swiftly. But that's a big limitation, and that's part of the reason... obviously I can't justify spending 20-30 grand on a custom tray and canopy for the car I've got now.
Money.
I mean, it's not old by any means. Like, I think I'm touching 130,000 Ks on it, which is not much in terms of a diesel. However, I think if I'm going to do something like that and spend that cash, I want to get something probably near new, you know what I mean? Probably don't want it new just because... You know, you drive it out the gate and see it later. You know, you might as well just buy it second hand. You got 20 grand extra to spend on your tray and canopy, but that's the plan. Anyway, we'll see what happens. Yeah,
well, that's it. One Powerball, mate. That's all it takes. I also want to ask you, what's your favourite style of camping? Do you like sort of a majority of beach, or you like bush, or
I think, I mean, if we're talking versatility, probably beach. I feel like there's, you know, you can camp, you can get up, you can go for a swim, especially in the warmer months like summertime. I mean, it's a bit harder to sleep, especially in swag during summer. But if you get those days that aren't too hot, it's not too bad. And I think, I mean, I wouldn't say like necessarily just the beach, like in the early days, you know, like Logbrook Dam and things like that, going out in the jet ski and camping there, and we've had some wicked times out there. I think just being near some water of some sort is probably your best bet, but I'd probably say beach, just because, like I said, that just having that water on hand, just to be able to jump in there, and you know, you can fish, you can dive, you can you know, if you get a good spot, like one of my last episodes down in Geraldton, we're down that way, there was you know, we got a flat day and there was some nice reef out there and that.
Perfect.
Stupid me didn't bring his wetsuit, so it didn't go out, but that'll be first in. I literally looked at it and I went, nah, it's gonna be too cold, I won't need that. Boy, was I wrong. We got blessed with a clear day with plenty of visibility, but oh well.
Can't win them all, can you?
Yeah, that's it. We'll live and learn, and we'll have the wetsuit ready for the next trip. But
Yeah.
I think that's probably going to be your best option.
Yeah.
But each to their own. You know, some people don't like the sand.
Yeah. Everyone enjoys
It's
something
good to
different.
finally get the sand off me awning walls. So
Spent the first 20 minutes of the camp set wiping
yeah. Clean.
I pulled my swag out. There's all sand everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, wind will blow it off. Do you have a good yarn on your worst camping trip?
Oh, worst
Like
camping.
whether it's with YouTube or before, like what's something that was like
worst camping trip. I mean,
there's always a few of them.
there's always a few. I mean, I wouldn't, but yeah, to me, they're not necessarily terrible. Yeah, that's the thing. But there was one that we did on YouTube. It sort of caught us off guard, I suppose. And me and Seldy, we disappeared down to Logue it's one of our favourite spots, especially with the jet ski. We used to go skiing and all that kind of stuff all the time. So he better hurry up and get bloody fixed because he snapped his hamstring skiing and proper snapped it, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like the whole 3 heads gone, see you later. So he's on the mend. So end of the year, we're going skiing, all right? But yeah, we had a heap of fun doing that, and there was one particular trip where we went down with his daughter, his stepson, and his partner's niece. And we went down there and everything was perfect. You know, we're driving in and sky's blue, everything's mint, no wind. And then we set up 2 gazebos next to each other. They had, I don't know if you know those gazebo hubs that sort of come off the side.
Yep.
We set them up, we're ready to go. We're like, let's get the ski in the water, we'll be ready. And literally, as we were about to put the ski in the water, I don't know where this easterly come from. It just was howling straight through. And like, we hadn't even tied any of these gazebos down, nothing. No. And we're standing there holding these gazebos. And we're like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And we're like Logue Brook, I don't know if you know, but it's rock, man. Yeah. Like, you ain't getting any tent pegs in there, you know? So we're like, I was like, hold the gazebo, let me move my car. We'd moved my car, we tied it to the rim, you know, and tied the other one to his car, and then we were like, found these big rocks and we're like rolling them over to tie them to that. And I tell you what, it was funny because those hubs that were coming off the sides, we swiftly had to take them down. It was quite hilarious rolling out of my swag, which, might I add, did not move and was not pegged down at all. So, handy tip, if you're going somewhere windy, take a swag because they don't move. And yeah, rolling out of my swag and seeing these 2 tents, like, probably about that high off the ground, like, you know, half a metre off the ground, like domed over, and knowing that there's 1 or 2 people sleeping inside that, like, it was quite entertaining.
It's the best feeling,
you know, like they stand up and like the whole, they're like pushing their hand, like, you know, hello, let's roll out here.
I love that.
It was quite hilarious, but it's safe to say we did not get the jet ski in that afternoon, and luckily enough it died down the next day. But we pretty much packed them up pretty swiftly. Actually, it didn't die down the next day. Yeah, it was pretty windy, and we were just, you know, the lake was pretty flat, so we just went out there and just cut sick. But yeah, I mean, you got to be prepared for the worst. Like, seriously, we've had that many occasions where we're like, yeah, let's go. We book it. It's all sweet. Everything's good. And it just like pisses down, or it's windy, or there's always something going on, you know.
It's part of the camper.
It's never been smooth sailing.
Yeah, I did that, you know, I mentioned before with the axe. The first time I used it, chopped my thumb, but that was the same thing. I remember going down there with Mum, down to Yugarup, and sat there, it's pissing with rain. I was like, oh, rolled the cars up, wound the awnings out, got gazebos up, a lot of fire, get us warm, there goes the end of my thumb. And then, you know, me and Miss had to go to hospital, Mum, and all that stayed there, and then they've like snapped their gazebo in the rain, and it's I don't know, they're like, oh, that was the worst trip ever. But it's part of the memory, I think. Like, you know,
that's it. Yeah, I mean, you know, aside from the fact that
This might be shit at the time.
Yeah, that's it. A bit of shit at the time. It's a good story to tell at least, you know what I mean? But we're pretty lucky that we caught that one on camera, but it literally came out of nowhere, and I'm pretty sure you can even see it on the video. Like, we roll up, we set up, everything's cool. We're like sick, sun's out, put the ski in the water, we'll go for a ski in the afternoon, and then we'll roll back in, cook a bit of tucker, and boy, were we wrong. We were holding down gazebos quicker than we knew, you know? Like, it was good fun, but
so part of the fun. Well,
it's always a good time. Is that another half hour?
Just about another half an hour. I reckon we'll have about one more.
One more, you reckon?
This will be about, I reckon this will be second episode by now.
Yeah, probably.
But, yeah, I reckon I've got a couple more, and then we'll wrap her up, and then a couple more beers after that.
Sounds like a plan. Maybe we get the French martinis rolling.
Oh, no.
For those who don't know, Last Minute Livin special, that one. We might get them on camera. Maybe that's one for the potty and not the YouTube video. Maybe it is.
Rightio. Well, we're back again.
What's this, part 17? No.
Yeah, part 17, series 73, take 105.
Yeah, nice.
So that was your worst. What was your best? Like, what's
best?
Like, dude, this was sick. That was the best trip ever. Even if it's like bonding with mates or just good camping trip. Like,
I think it was that Coral Bay trip that I did with the Chisos, and conveniently the guy that made all our logo and intro and stuff, he was going, he wanted to go up there around the same time, and we mentioned, and we just went, hey, let's go together. We did. We went up to Coral Bay, which was my first sort of introduction to the Ningaloo Reef, I suppose. And you know, the guy that made our logo, he was like, I'm doing the whale sharks, and I was like, if you're doing the whale sharks, I'm 100% in. And that was big bucket list item, I suppose. And
that'd be sick.
That was awesome, man. I'd do it again in a heartbeat. You know what I mean? So if someone came to me and was like, hey, we're going up the coast and we're going to go do whale sharks, I'm like, I'm in. You know, straight away. So it's expensive, but it was worth every second.
Yeah, it'd be crazy.
You know, like the first time jumping in that water, and like you're looking at this like shark, like it looks like a shark, you know what I mean? You know it can't hurt you, or you know it's placid, I suppose, but you're looking at it and your brain's thinking, this ain't right, you know what I mean?
It's a big animal.
Yeah, like I think the first shark we swam with, because like we got to swim with like 5 sharks or something like that. We got lucky that there were sharks everywhere. Visibility was awesome. The guys on the tour were like, yesterday we went out and we saw nothing. You know, it just happened to all align. And I think the first shark we swam with was like 7 meters long. Like, that's huge, man. You know, and you get in there and you're looking at this thing and you're like, this thing is like 4 to 5 times my size. You're like, I shouldn't be here. You know what I mean? That's what it felt like.
Brings you back to reality as well. With like, I reckon it's cool when you like something like the ocean or an animal or something. You're like, dude, I'm like,
when you have an encounter so close.
Like, I'm small in this world.
Yeah, and it's just it's mental. But like I said, 100%, I'd do it again. Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah, I'm not a big ocean fan. I'm not a big water fan. I don't know what it is. I'm a land dweller. I don't know.
I was never really a big ocean fan either. But again, it's one of those things like with the YouTube channel, you sort of just not get pressured, but you get, you know, encouraged to, you know, like for example, the jet skiing and the biscuiting, like. Yeah. Would I have done that if I was just doing whatever? Probably not. And then, well, if anyone knows what Seldy's like, I'm sure you'll see it on the videos. He more than often convinces me to do things that I probably shouldn't be doing. No, we've had a heap of fun, you know, and he's like, oh yeah, let's do that. And I'm like, no. And he's like, well, guess what? Here we are. You know, so we've done a lot of that kind of stuff. And yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say I still wouldn't say I'm a huge water person, but I'm probably more inclined that if someone else is going to snorkel or someone else is going to biscuit or going to jet ski or on a boat or something like that, I'm probably more inclined to be like, oh, if you're going, I'm going. You know what I mean? Almost like healthy competition, but...
Yeah. No, it's, I guess a lot of camping or, like you said, whether it's inland or at the beach, you're always either camping near a waterhole or at the beach. So I guess every sort of bit of camping, whether you're hopping in it or not, I suppose it's got something to do with water. But you know, like I've got a few mates, they're like right into it, go diving and oh yeah, seen this big shark and worried about stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's not for me, but it's yeah, is that something personally you'd love to do a bit more of, like documenting, or you just sort of
not particularly.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I mentioned, I suppose it would be on the previous episode of this podcast. I've known Salty Fishos for quite some time, and we used to go down to Bustleton to one of the caravan parks there, and off that caravan park there is a small reef, I suppose. And for many years, I was always like seeing him and his brother go out, come back with Oki or whatever, you know, catch them whatever they catch, and I would never really go out there or see myself going out there. And it wasn't until I had the YouTube channel and I'm like, sick, let's go. You know what I mean? Like, so I suppose, I don't know, it's sort of the same with, like I was mentioning before, about having that slight pressure to go out and do things, you know. So it sort of gives you a bit of pressure to get out of your comfort zone and experience some things. But all in all, it's a bit of fun. And like I said, that mentality of being like, well, if you're doing it, I'm going to do it is exciting, because people are obviously more comfortable in some situations than others. But just being out there to, I suppose, you know, whether you like it or not, share an interest with someone for a little bit of time is pretty cool. So
100%. So I'm starting every interview, I want to do a shouldn't do it moment, whether this is something like a car or something breaks and you're like, well, that shouldn't do it, or something you've personally done that shouldn't do it. So I'm going to make it a bit of a thing every episode. You've got to come up with your worst shouldn't do it moment. Yeah. What would be your worst, whether it's camping or whatever?
Funny you say that, because you asked me this previously.
I said, think of something.
I was starting to think of something, and I tell you what, I didn't think of anything until you just mentioned it now. So here we go. Again, Seldy played a big influence in this one.
Sounds like a top bloke.
Yeah, he's a great bloke, trust me. We were at Logue Brook, and we had the Chizzos there. So there was me, Seldy and Luke, right? The kids had been on the tubes for most of the day, or at least one of the kids at any one time had been on the tubes for the day. Yeah. It got pretty late in the arvo, let's say 3, 4 o'clock, and Seldy's gone, right, it's the adult's turn on the ski. I'm thinking to myself, all right, here we go. Me being included as an adult for some strange reason. So me, Luke and Seldy set out on the jet ski with one biscuit on the back. Yeah. It started off with Luke, and obviously jet skis don't put off much a wake. Yeah. So for tubing, not so good. Much to Seldy's benefit, there was a lot of ski boats floating around. So he was eyeballing those waves from a mile away and sending us God knows how fast into these waves. And so Luke had a bit of a go, and Seldy was adamant that he was going to send us into the trees, but that didn't quite happen. But Luke ended up getting tired, and you know, me and him swapped. So I jumped on the tube, and it was the first wave, right? He's seen this wake boat cruise past, and he's gone, all right, we're on here. And he's gone flat out. He's turned it out. I'm pretty sure if you'd asked Seldy, he would remember it exactly how I'm telling it. I hit this wave. I was determined that I was going to land it, regardless. So I'm on this tube. I've got the tightest of all grips, ready to go, right? And Seldy told me, he says, all I remember is looking back, and you were about 1.5 meters in the air, upside down, right? Did not continue to roll. And as I remember it, I'd gone up the wave. I'm hanging on, I ain't letting go. And I look up, and all I see is the water. And I think to myself, oh boy, you're going to have to let go. So I'm up there, hanging on, and I'm like, I'm not going anymore. So I actually eventually had to let go. So I let go, and I land in the water. And I tell you what, it was for the first time going up a wake boat's bit of wake. It was pretty entertaining, and just the look on Seldy's face when he turned around, he goes, "Bro, I looked back and you're just upside down, hanging onto this tube." Like you're determined, you know. I'm not going to fall off this. I'm going to land it. I'm going to land it.
Oh no!
And I got to the point where I realised, mate, you ain't landing anything but on your head.
That's when he sat there and said, "I shouldn't have done it."
Yeah. So shouldn't be doing that.
Shouldn't do it.
So adults on the jet ski, no go. Shouldn't do that. Shouldn't do it at all.
So one last quick one. Either your previous self or someone brand new starting a channel, what was some advice you'd give them that you wish you'd learnt earlier?
Whoa, that's a good one. I think the biggest thing, because I've got a couple of mates, a friend of mine has got, actually a couple of friends of mine have got their own businesses.
Yeah.
I mean, they're sort of starting out the social media side of things. One of them's sort of been doing it a bit. But I think the whole talking on camera thing.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people are like, oh, I just don't know, you know, it feels weird talking on camera and things like that. And I suppose the thing is to just get in there and just do it. Like, you know, our first video, me and Seldy, we were talking about, we're like, oh, we've got to talk more, we've got to talk, you know, we've got to talk. And it was this big thing that we sort of didn't want to do at the time. And we literally just were like, it's happening now. Yeah. And we just, like, that's where I got, I suppose, my filming technique. Like you were saying, you know, where you're like, oh, all of a sudden, you just bang, we're on. Like, oh, we're filming. Like, you know what I mean? And that's sort of how we've done it, because when we started, we stood there and we're like, we've got to talk. And we're like, all right, we'll just do it. And we just pushed the button and then we just started talking.
Yeah.
Because if anything's not that good, you can edit it out.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, so I suppose for the people who are probably a bit shy or don't want to talk, I was like, you just got to start, because at the end of the day, it could be absolute shit.
Oh yeah,
you know.
I think it's one of those things too. Like, you would have done it yourself,
but no one cares.
Yeah, and
they really don't.
And you can always do another take. Like,
yeah,
if you're like, you stumble, just
but
either edit or
but the whole idea of like just sending it type thing, I suppose, like, just do it, because the more you do it, the better you're going to get.
100%.
And if you take, you know, if you take X amount of time to actually just do it, you could already be good by then if you'd have just done it several months before. So I suppose if you're in that mindset of, do I, don't I? Oh, I don't want to talk, I don't want to do this. Like, if you don't want to talk, don't. Yeah. You know what I mean? Just get into it, basically. That's probably the biggest thing. I think it's
like YouTube as a whole. Anything with you, all that, you know, filming, editing,
just get into it.
Just hook in.
Because at the end of the day, like, our first 5 minute whatever video at the Mundaring power lines, it wasn't a great video. But if you look at the videos we're doing now, or that I'm doing now, like it's
grown a lot. Yeah.
Grown a lot.
Yeah, and that's,
but
if you've never done that first video, you wouldn't be where you are now, and then what you're doing now, you won't be where you are in another year. So
exactly. So it's only going to get better. So yeah, I suppose it's just part of the journey. Yeah. But yeah, I think the advice is, if you're even thinking about doing a social media or a YouTube or whatever, is just to get into it, full launch.
Yeah.
Don't worry about, like we're talking about weekly posts. If you can't do weekly posts, don't do weekly posts.
Yeah.
Or whatever, or do it daily on socials or whatever, or just do what you can, but just do something. You know what I mean? So just crack into it, get a bit of, like I said, it only gets better. So even if your first thing's crap, well, if you're posting every day, that first crap video that you did is not going to matter in 3 weeks' time, because there's going to be that much content past that people will probably never even going to see that. You know what I mean? And if they do, well, okay, great. They've seen it and they've seen how much better you're going to get. So I suppose just get into it and let it rip. Yeah,
there you go. You heard it here first.
We're going to wrap it up there.
Yeah, that's us. We're just about out of time. So thank you very much for coming on, and
no worries.
With us just been here on 2 hours.
Filled in a little bit of time at least while we're camping.
So where did everyone find you on YouTube and all your socials?
Yep, so Last Minute Livin on YouTube. I think, same on Facebook.
Yep.
Last Minute Livin, and Instagram I think is Last Minute Livin with an underscore between sort of each word.
Should come up normally. You just type it in.
Yeah, you should be able to just type it in and it'll come up. What else do we do? I think that's about it.
Yep. Yep. Well, there you go.
Other than that, there's just merch and bits and pieces.
Slide in the DMs, guys.
Yeah, not that we're creating a big, huge merch.
Yeah. You want to support the channel? It's a great way to do it.
Yeah, we just got a little bit. It's not really to support the channel. It's just to, get a bit of gear out there, and for the people that like watching it, that want a sort of free advertisement, I suppose. Hence why we do pretty good gear, because it's majority for us.
Yeah.
Or for me, it's for my family and friends and stuff. So it's not really, a bit of a gimmick, I suppose. But you can definitely get it. So if you want it, hit us up in the messages. But otherwise, I think that's going to be all she wrote, mate. I think it's about time to get on the French martinis. What do you reckon?
It's about to go down. All right.
Thank God we're wrapping it up now before they come out.
It's only, what's it, 9:30 now? She's going to be in.
Oh boy, we'll be in bed in an hour.
Thanks for listening or watching, guys. Appreciate it as always. Feedback. And if you want to become a guest or something, obviously this is our first one that we've done face to face, but I'll do all the video interviews online. So yeah, hit us up, and we'll see you on the next one. Yeah, celebrations for the first live podcast, eh? 2 hours long. The light lasted, the camera lasted just. 2 parts. Let's go. At least. Adios. See you later, guys. Later, Bolt.